Qin Shi Huang was the first emperor to unify China. Before his reign, China was divided into many smaller states, constantly at war with each other. This was the Spring and Autumn period, followed by the Warring States period, both known for endless battles and shifting alliances. During this chaotic time, influential figures like Confucius, Lao Tzu, and Sun Tzu lived and worked. In fact, Qin Shi Huang came after them, in a time shaped by their philosophies and military strategies. The Spring and Autumn period began in 770 BCE, lasting for about 300 years. Then came the Warring States period, which lasted another 250 years. It was in the final stage of this era that Qin Shi Huang rose to power and eventually unified China. He was born in 259 BCE, with the name Yingzheng. At the time, China was divided into 7 powerful states: Qin, Chu, Han, Yan, Zhao, Wei, and Qi. But it wasn't just these 7. It was a time of many states, big and small, constantly vying for dominance. These 7, however, were the most influential, often called the 7 warring states. In some ways, it's not hard to imagine. It's like the medieval struggle for power in Game of Thrones, with each state fighting for survival and supremacy. Qin Shi Huang was the son of King Zhongshang of Qin. Yes, he was a true prince of Qin, but interestingly he wasn't born in his father's kingdom. Instead, he was born in Zhao, one of the rival states. And to understand how this happened, we need to go back to his father's story. Qin Shi Huang's father was named Yiren, a man who, at the time, was not exactly in the spotlight. In fact, he was one of over 20 sons of the king of Qin, but definitely not the favorite. At the time, during the Warring States period, it was common for defeated states to send their princes as hostages to secure peace. And guess what? Yiren, who was not exactly royal favorite, was sent to Zhao as a hostage. Now, being a hostage in ancient China was no fun. Not only was Yiren treated as a second-class citizen, but while he was in Zhao, Qin was attacking Zhao. No one was even pretending to care about his safety. Life was brutal. He was constantly at risk, his survival hanging by a thread, and he barely had enough to eat or wear. Then, a wealthy merchant from Zhao named Lu Bue noticed him. Lu Bue saw potential in this prince, even though, as a merchant, he was considered at the bottom of the social ladder. In ancient China, merchants were often looked down upon. They didn't create wealth, they just traded it. But Lu Bue wasn't just any merchant. He wanted to get close to this prince, who had royal blood, and began making efforts to win his favor. Why? Well, even though Yiren didn't have much, Lu Bue understood that befriending a future ruler could be very beneficial, so he often invited him to meals and took him out to entertainments. On one such occasion, Yiren noticed a beautiful woman at Lu Bue's house, Zhao Ji, who was the singer at his place. Yiren asked Lu Bue to send her to him. This created an awkward situation for Lu Bue. Zhao Ji was, in fact, his own woman, but he still agreed to send her to Yiren. Some say when Lu Bue gave Zhao Ji to Yiren, she was already pregnant, and that's why some believe Yingzheng might have been Lu Bue's son. However, this is just a legend. In any case, Lu Bue went on to give Yiren 500 gold to help him establish a position in high society, build connections, and solidify his status. With his gold, Lu Bue also bought rare treasures and traveled back to Qin to secure the right contacts. That's where he met Lady Huang, the Queen of Qin. At the time, King Qin was old and in poor health, and Queen Huang had no children of her own. Despite the fact that Qin King had many sons, the queen needed an heir. If she didn't, her position would be in jeopardy after the king's death. Lu Bue, ever the strategist, suggested a solution. Why not adopt this outstanding hostage from Zhao as your son? He's already a prince of Qin and could ensure your position. Lady Huang agreed, and soon after, Lu Bue convinced the king of Zhao to release Yiren. He argued that if Yiren were freed, Zhao and Qin would have better relations. If not, Yiren would lose all value once the old king died and any new prince came to power. The king of Zhao saw the logic and agreed to release him. By the time Yiren was around 30 years old, he was back in Qin, and shortly after, the king died. Yiren ascended the throne. Yiren promised Lu Bue that if he became king, They would rule together. True to his word, he made Lu Bue the prime minister of Qin. But unfortunately, Yiren died just 3 years later. At the age of 13, Yingzheng, his son, took the throne. After Yiren's death, the queen, Xiaoji, began to grow closer to Lu Bue. Now here's the twist. She had always been under his influence, but Yingzheng had no idea about it. Lu Bue didn't want to complicate things though. If anyone found out about his affair with the queen, it could have meant execution. So, instead of confronting the situation directly, Lu Bue devised a more complicated plan. He hired a male escort named Liao Ai, who pretended to be a eunuch and started serving the queen. To keep this charade from being exposed, they moved the queen and Liao Ai to a distant palace, far away from Yingzheng's prying eyes. Meanwhile, Lu Bue focused all his energy on supporting Yingzheng's rule. He spent a fortune recruiting talented individuals from all over China, helping Yingzheng build a solid foundation for his eventual unification of the country. But after 10 years of Yingzheng's reign, when he was 23, rumors started circulating. It was reported that the queen and the fake eunuch, Liao Ai, had been living together and had even had 2 children. Worse, Liao Ai was planning to stage a coup and crown his own child as the king. There were even whispers that Yingzheng himself wasn't the queen's biological son, but rather the child of the queen and Lu Bue. Upon hearing this, Yingzheng acted quickly. He had Liao Ai captured and executed by chariot splitting. Both children were killed, and the queen was locked away in the palace, never to see the light of day again. Yingzheng didn't stop there. He even considered having Lu Bue executed. But Lu Bue had many supporters. So instead of killing him, Yingzheng placed him under house arrest. However, after a year of confinement, Lu Bue's visitors kept arriving, and his influence continued to grow. Feeling that Lu Bue was still a threat, Yingzheng decided to exile him to the western frontier Sichuan. He even sent Lu Bue a letter that said, "What right do you have?" Upon reading the letter, Lu Bue took poison and died, never making it to his exile. But Yingzheng wasn't finished. To completely wipe out Lu Bue's influence, he exiled all of Lu Bue's followers from the Qin kingdom, never to return. Yingzheng also attended Lu Bue's funeral. Why? Because he wanted to see who was crying. Anyone who showed sorrow would be executed. Those who didn't cry but attended the funeral were also exiled. At the age of 25, Yingzheng was firmly in control. By the time he was 30, he began his military campaign to conquer the other 6 states. By 31, he destroyed the Han state. At 32, Xiao fell. By 35, Wei was wiped out. By 37, Chu was defeated. By 38, Yan was conquered. By 39, Qi was destroyed. And in just 13 years, Yingzheng unified all 6 states. After unification, he moved the capital to Zhanyang, and in the process, he became the first emperor of China. Before him, rulers were simply called kings. But Qin Shi Huang felt he was more powerful than a king. He needed a title that showed just how much stronger he was. And that's when he coined the term emperor. From that moment on, all Chinese rulers would be called emperors. Just 10 years after becoming emperor, Qin Shi Huang passed away at the age of 49. His father lived to just 35, and he himself only made it to 49. Short lifespans were the norm back then. But in those 10 years he achieved a lot. For example, he unified the writing system, currency, and measurements across China. He also introduced the county system, basically dividing the country into provinces and cities, with governors appointed by the central government. To prevent rebellion, the families of those governors were forced to live in the capital. And guess what? Even the wealthy were made to move to the capital, just in case they were plotting something against him. He also confiscated all metal tools, forcing people to hand over anything that could be used as a weapon. They melted the metal down into giant bells again, all in the name of preventing rebellion. No swords or spears on his watch. Then, of course, there's the Great Wall of China. The wall wasn't built by Qin Shi Huang himself. It actually started during the Warring States period. But he connected all the smaller walls built by other states into what we know today as the Great Wall, a massive structure designed to protect against northern invaders, particularly the Xiongnu. Next, there's the infamous book burning and burial of scholars, an attempt to unify the country under one thought, one idea. when scholars resisted his efforts to standardize writing. He burned books and buried intellectuals alive. Yes, you heard that right. He didn't like people disagreeing with him. And then there's his massive building projects. Qin Shi Huang was a fan of big constructions. He had plans to build 300 palaces within the capital and 400 more outside the capital. But of course, he never finished it all. He died before his grand palaces could be completed. The largest one was called Epping Palace. It was still under construction when he passed, and after his death, rebels set it on fire. It took 3 months to burn down completely. Today, the ruins can be found near Xi'an. But the most famous construction project he left behind was his tomb. At first, no one knew where it was located. It was supposed to be a hidden secret, after all. His treasures were buried there, and they were meant to stay hidden forever. But in March 1974, a group of farmers in Xi'an accidentally uncovered a terracotta warrior while digging a well. They contacted the local authorities, and experts quickly realized something huge was going on. They cordoned off the area, and after years of excavation, they discovered the Qin Shi Huang tomb. The terracotta army was unearthed, one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. The tomb complex consists of 2 main sections: the terracotta army pit, which has been excavated, with 3 main pits open to the public; the emperor's tomb, which has never been excavated. The tomb is about 1.5 kilometers from the terracotta army. Experts believe the tomb is untouched by tomb robbers, which makes it one of the greatest archaeological sites in the world. Every item inside could be a world-class treasure if excavated carefully. But without the right conditions, digging could lead to irreversible damage. So the tomb remains untouched. As for the terracotta army, it was originally painted in bright colors. But centuries of oxidation have turned it a dull gray. People have also found traces of mercury around the tomb area, which leads to the suspicion that opening the tomb could be hazardous, perhaps even deadly. Some say that the workers who built the tomb were buried alive, to keep the secrets of the tomb safe. Others believe the mercury is there to guard the tomb, protecting it from being disturbed. Whatever the reason, the tomb remains sealed, and people have yet to venture inside. And that might just be the real reason no one dares to dig up Qin Shi Huang's tomb.